Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my top 10 anime movies list. So, this is a list I kind of decided to do just off the top of my head. Um, and it's simple. We'll be counting on my 10 favorite anime movies. Um, there is no real rules to this list, outside of just the movie has to be a Japanese anime, obviously. Um, it can be an original movie, it can be based off of a series, yada yada yada. Um, as always, the list will be linked to in the description below. It will be done in clip style. I'll be using trailers and whatnot for the clips. Um, so just to make it easier. But before we do get started, I do want to just briefly mention some honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list. Um, and yeah, they can be any anime movie, doesn't matter as long as it is Japanese anime. Um, yeah, it can be from you can have multiple movies from the same studio, from the same directors, yada yada, same property. Um, but either way, yeah, let's go over five honorable mentions. So first off, we have Cowboy Bebop knocking on heaven's door. Um, I was when I first watched Cowboy Bebop, it's like I liked it, but I was never like a super fan like some people. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people say. But the movie lived up more to the hype of what I was expecting and hoping Cowboy Bebop to be. I just feel like all the characters were at their best in the movie. The animation, the just direction, the audio work, everything was just at its best. Um, it truly encapsulated to me what Cowboy Bebop could be. The second honorable mention is Yu-Gi-Oh! Pyramid of Light. The very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie that was actually a theatrical release as well, which I did see in theaters with my friend Derek. Um, so I had grown up playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game and watching the anime. So when the movie was announced and everything, I was excited. And when I saw it, yeah, it was good. And I've watched it a few times since, and it does still hold up. If you were a fan of the original series and everything, and were fine with obviously the for kids censoring of certain things, then you're gonna enjoy it. The characters are interesting. I like the villain. I like his ancient Egyptian themed deck with the Anubis cards and everything. Blue Eyes Shining Dragon is still great. And it just has some really good moments to it that really like kind of encapsulates what I loved about the series. So yeah. The third honorable mention is Pokemon, the first movie. Most people tend to consider this their favorite Pokemon movie, and for good reason. It has a lot of great stuff in it. Mewtwo is awesome, has some really good kind of philosophical ideals in it as well, considering Mewtwo's view on humanity. And there's even this line in it about it's not the circumstances behind what how you were born, but what you do with the gift of life that matters, which has been memed and people have really like latched onto that and stuff. It has some really great moments, has a real tear jerking moment at the end, and just some really strong animation. Um, but there are movies that I found better, and it just barely didn't make the list. My fourth honorable mention is Tokyo Godfathers, the Satoshi Kon classic. Tokyo Godfathers is a fantastic movie. It does a lot of great stuff, and unlike some of Satoshi Kon's work, isn't really as trippy as you would expect. It's actually very down to earth. I love the animation. I love the characters. The characters are really what sell it, in my opinion. I love the story, the voice acting. Everything about it is just really well done. It feels like it was a fully well thought out plan from the beginning, and like everything just aligned just to make it be handled in the perfect way. From every part of its production, it just feels like it was perfect. Now, I'm not saying it's the best movie or anything, just from an enjoyability and whatnot standpoint. But in terms of, it just feels like it was so perfectly produced that everything, like I said, just aligned to make it. But my final honorable mention is My Hero Academia 2 Heroes, the first of the My Hero Academia movies. I haven't seen the new one yet. Um, but the first of the My Hero Academia movies was really good. It continued to, once again, as I've said with other ones of these, kind of encapsulate what I love about the series, bringing in a lot of the great humor, a lot of the great action, the ideals behind the characters, and a lot of the great back and forth between characters. The only reason it's really not on my full list and kind of was just pushed off is because there are a couple things about it that I honestly didn't like, such as the fact that it does try to bring in almost all of the class, yet most of them end up having almost nothing to do and feel like they just don't even need to be there. It's like it just feels like they're just put in just to have that like fan service of the characters being there, but they don't do anything, and it feels like their screen time's kind of a waste of time, and takes away from a lot of what else the movie could do. The final battle with the villain is also a little anticlimactic. I mean, it has a great fight animation and has some great moments in it, but it just feels like it was not as good as it could have been to me. Um, Also, the villain in general is not as good as I hoped, if that's a way to put it. Just in general. I do like the twists it takes. I like the Shields family of characters that were brought in, the history it gives to All Might's character. But overall, I feel it just could have done things a little bit better, and that's why it just barely misses out on being in the top 10. So, that all being said, those are just five that barely missed out. But the top 10, once again, is linked in the description below. And keep in mind, this is only my opinion. This is only my viewpoints, my favorites based on what I like in these movies. So if they don't align with yours, or if the order doesn't align with yours, that's completely fine. And honestly, you shouldn't expect it to. But I would love to hear what your like list would be. So after you watch this, tell me down in the comments below what your top 10 favorite anime movies are. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the list. So for the time being, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'll see you all next time.